Okay, hey guys. Today I want to talk about nutrition, dieting, and most importantly, how to decide on the correct strategy for you as a performance athlete going forward towards the next tournament. First things first, let's address the title I just gave you all, which is athlete. I know we all bandy that term around, and it's funny to think about yourself a little bit as an athlete, and we've kind of laughed at the concept. But after all, we aren't professional athletes. We play for Wales, we self-fund, we self-educate, and we're left responsible for our own participation in training and nutrition outside of formal training sessions. Unlike pro athletes who have a team of other professionals or a facility that they have to attend where food and training is given to them as part of their daily working life, we have to use a lot more mental energy managing our performance and ultimately are responsible for our own output on the field. The coaches and myself give you the tools and we expect you to go away and use them. But trust me, even though you are not being paid to be one, you are and should be always treating yourself like an athlete. And that term is even more important when it comes to asking a big question, one that you should sort of ask yourself every time you set foot into a gym or whenever you go forward to cook something or eat something. It's why am I doing this? Followed by what results am I hoping to get from this action? And last of all, and probably most importantly, long term, is this going to make me a better lacrosse player? Because if you start asking yourself those kind of questions, you're going to find pretty quickly that you need to change your approach to a lot of aspects of your life, how you go about them, and how you think they're going to make an impact on you. From talking to a bunch of you guys on Zoom, it's quite clear that a lot of you work incredibly hard, but being an athlete is about training and eating smart as well as training and eating hard. Do you eat hard? No. Anyway, making sure that effort is being focused towards optimal results is more important than just blindly smashing the gym. A major point that's come up during our individual Zoom calls, and I'm making an effort to get round to you guys who I haven't, please drop me a message, please bug me, get on my back if I haven't sorted one out, and let's sort one out. But a major point that seems to be coming up time and time again is people's nutrition and their understanding of nutrition, whether it's a question directly regarding as to how to structure and adjust a diet, or simply how to just go about losing weight or adding lean mass. A lot of people are falling into the trap that I think everyone does at some point, which is looking at diet advice and information that's out there on the internet and forgetting that a lot of that information, whilst hopefully evidence-based and wholly correct, is written and focused towards 55-year-old ladies looking to get rid of love handles as quickly as possible before they go on their summer holidays. It's normally coupled with some kind of random and frankly ridiculous HIIT routine. And if it's not evidence-based, it could be suggesting that you remove food groups, macronutrients, or invest in a gallon of aloe vera gel to chug down on the daily to try and get the results you're after. I'm not saying that weight loss isn't a major part of improving performance. I bet 99% of you could do with losing some body fat. Some of you might even fall into the category, as my 50 and 60-year-old ladies, that you could be set to lose a fair few pounds before you get to a proper training session. Lockdown hits us all. The goal is the same no matter which group you fall into. We want to conduct an efficient body recomposition diet, reducing the amount of body fat we have and increasing or at least maintaining the amount of lean muscle we have, rather than just going for a full out blitz and trying to lose as much body weight as possible. We want to be aiming at fat. We do that by creating an appropriate and consistent daily calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time in order to achieve optimal body composition. I'm going to run you through that in a second and exactly what that looks like and how we achieve that result long term. The difference I would like you to implement, and I'll be reiterating this later on too, is that as an athlete, we don't want to create a calorie deficit with food that is large enough to inhibit your performance output. Your goal should always be first and foremost to fuel your body correctly to achieve optimal results. This comes with a caveat that you actually have to be working hard in the gym and putting enough effort in to create an adaptation in body composition. So, let's bring that up. Cool. So, How do we even start with body composition diets? Let's assume that most of you want to lose some body fat. Like I say, even the fittest guys among you could lose a little bit of fat. Fat, by the way, is important, and it does help soak up a little of the hits. And on the whole, we do tend to refer to it as like lazy mass, because unlike your muscles, you're just carrying it around, isn't massively contributing to your performance, but it can be helpful to prevent injury and the likes. But so in this point, we're going to try and strip some of that away. So step one is to ascertain how many calories you need right now to stay exactly as you are. We do that by first discovering your TEE, which is your total energy expenditure. The first number to get to that is your BMR. Some of you might know it. It's your basal metabolic rate, the number of calories you need to consume. Essentially, if you led a sedentary life, it would be how many calories you need to consume to stay the same weight you are right now. I'm going to save a lot of you some time. I'm going to put an online calculator for you guys to use in the WhatsApp group. It'll give you that number and we'll be good to go. The next thing we need to know is about TEF, which is the thermic effect of food. It isn't something we can influence, but it is data. It is important to have it there and to realize it is there at least. What we can influence, however, especially as an athlete, is going to be the most efficient use of our time when trying to create a body composition diet is your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, long sentence. This could be any informal exercise, so walking to work, playing with your kids, taking the stairs instead of a lift. Essentially anything that will add to a step counter on your phone or on your watch, which isn't a formal workout. And then, of course, EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis, which, as you guessed it, is formal, pre-planned, progressive exercise, so gym routines, runs, more intense cycling, or like a training session. All of that makes this line up to make your TEE, which is essentially your starting block, which we're going to try and chip away at. So that's where you are right now without any change. By eating less than this number, as well as increasing our NEAT and EAT above our baseline, we can create a calorie deficit, which if we consistently remain in it, will create efficient fat loss. Another thing that I'm unsure that everyone understands is the concept of macronutrients, so I'm going to go over it quickly and what their purpose is. So let's just run through it so everyone grasps it. But essentially, everything we can consume can be broken down into one or multiple macronutrients: protein, carbohydrates, fat. Most foods contain a percentage of all these, but we tend to break food groups down into the macronutrient they are rich in. So lean meats, being more protein rich, vegetables, rice, pastas, starches being carb rich, and then dairy, oils, fats, fatty red meat, mostly fat. We need all of these in our diet to be, one, be healthy, but two, to also fuel and build muscles. Carbs and fats play a huge part in muscle growth as well as protein, so depriving yourself of one of these groups isn't going to be hugely beneficial to you. However, with body composition, lean mass growth and maintaining muscle mass, it's important to have a protein-rich diet. And for most people, focusing on a ratio of like 40% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fats is a good place to start. And from there, experimentation, small adjustments to fit your lifestyle, the results you're seeing, and how your body adapts and uses energy is the key to then optimizing your performance long term. But for start for 10, if you're having a higher protein intake, it'll assist with some muscle growth, it'll fill you up, and it'll aid recovery. So, moving back to TEE, as we said before, we want to create a small energy deficit in order to lose some body fat and maintain lean mass. So by creating a huge energy deficit from food isn't going to be massively optimal in terms of your performance in the gym or on the field. So what I'm going to say is to create a small energy deficit, maybe 200 to 300 calories, and try and maintain that for 12 to 24 weeks, depending on your goal and your ability to maintain a long-term diet protocol. I'll talk to you in a second about how we analyze that, adapt that deficit over time. But for now, we're going to create that deficit, track your food and drink intake in an app like MyFitnessPal or something similar. MyFitnessPal is great because you can barcode scan everything and it's just super easy. And then, without mincing my words, we're going to create a bigger deficit by just working your arse off in a proper performance program like most of you are doing. That way, we are going to make a bigger deficit, and most of it's going to be from activity. So let's quickly flick it over. I'm going to change slides, and we're going to look at what a long-term diet program will look like.
A few moments later.
So what does a long-term weight loss, fat loss diet look like? Remember, we can take this chart and we can essentially flip it on its head if your goal is to bulk. As the analytics don't really change too much, we need to track when progress slows, assess, adjust in the same way. If you're not 100% sure, literally just ask me for help and I'll help you out. But in terms of fat loss, this is what your pathway will kind of look like. The yellow line is showing your maintenance calories and how they adjust over time. The blue line is showing your calorie deficit goal, and the slashes are kind of just to show you a rough guide of how big that deficit will look like. So let's say our demo athlete starts at about 100 kilograms with a fairly active lifestyle and consistent exercise routine. His BMR will be about 2,800 calories a day. Add on top of that, to create all his activity to add to TEE, he's probably about 3,100, something like that. So we'll start at a 200 to 300 calorie a day deficit for food, and then say 200 to 300 again is his activity. So we're looking at a 300 to 600 calorie a day deficit. With a healthy, high protein diet, we should see good fat loss results and maintain or potentially add some lean mass. The trick comes later on down here. So 6 to 12 weeks down the line, we've been consistent, we've made great progress, and suddenly we stop seeing improvements. Fat loss speed drops, potentially our energy levels dip or plateau. And this is where you see a lot of guys give up, lose motivation, or sort of bob back up a little bit more. And the reason for that's twofold. Firstly, you've lost weight, so your deficit isn't as big as it used to be. You might even be at or below the new weight's calorie maintenance, right? So we need to reassess that. Just use the calculator again. And secondly, your body is pretty smart. It's pretty good at adapting. And as we lose weight, your body's going to adapt and adjust to your calorie needs. So if you're still trying to work out hard and are now eating even less calories than you were for your new maintenance, you'll find that you aren't losing weight like you used to, because you've already hit your weight loss goal. Great. And we need to drop the food a little to or increase our activity to get back to a place where we're burning fat again, because the body starts to recognize that less calories are coming in, so it'll try and protect itself a little bit. And it does that by looking at the changeable factors we talked about. TEF around 10% drops, and then your NEAT and your EAT drops again by making you feel tired and lethargic. It can help itself from burning too many calories, and maybe your BMR, you might have dropped a ton of weight, and then it drops again to sort of protect yourself. That's why everyone gets a little bit lethargic, a little bit lazy towards that period. You get more hunger cravings and you're less inclined to exercise. All of a sudden your body's dropped you down to your maintenance and you're eating less food and you're hungry. And that's a pretty crap situation to be in. So what do we do? The first thing we need to do is take a step back, assess, and look at what's been happening. We could drop more food. That's one option. And if you've dropped a lot of weight, like a stone or more, yeah, we could do that. But we're athletes, remember, and the thing we have is the same issue, that if you do that, your body goes, no problem, I'll just drop your NEAT and your EAT again, and it'll make you feel even more lethargic. And we can't maintain that forever. Eventually, you'll be eating no food at all. You'll feel like crap. You'll be losing muscle mass, and you will be defeating the point of training altogether, if you're even able to train. And then, if we carry on dropping and dropping and dropping, death. So we have to keep thinking of ways to dealing with this situation without it always being food, and that tends to be the old lady tactic. For us, one way to recognize is that NEAT activity is something that drops without us knowing and without us thinking about it. So monitoring your steps is a great way of doing that. It's not an indication of calories in versus calories out, but it can tell us how active we've been, possibly help us stop this plateau happening, and meaning that we can progress constantly. So if week 1 we've got 70,000 steps, And then we notice that week 2 to 3, we've only done 63,000 steps. This is daily, by the way. Oh, so weekly, by the way. And then by week 6, whatever, we've all the way down to 55,000 calories. Sorry, steps. If we monitor this and we can see our NEAT is dropping, and if we also look at our gym output and how active we've been during our big workouts, the easiest thing we can do is change activity rather than food. Keeping that food at just above maintenance level or just below maintenance level is perfect. That's what we actually want to be doing. So a great purchase for this is like a MyZone or an accurate monitor that will sort of assess gym and lifestyle stuff. Apple Watches do similar. But seeing and recognizing that we've lost 11,000 steps and some gym calorie output, if we know the food is on point and the activity is the main problem, we can solve that. So we actively attack our NEAT and EAT. We don't leave the gym or finish the day without hitting those goals. We'll see our fat loss come back without adjusting our food at all. It'll be hard, especially if we're doing this long term, but it's the easiest way to lose weight long term without being in a crazy food deficit and whilst trying to be a performance athlete all at the same time. So that's just one strategy. I'll go through it one-on-one with you guys and sort of help you guys take advantage of this, but it's something you should all be trying to do at some point. Lean mass gain can follow a similar line with smaller deficits or even a small surplus. And weight gain is something a little different, and I can talk you guys through that if it's something you need. That needs to be something that comes from the coaches as well as you. But coming away from this, I want you guys to be thinking of yourselves more of an athlete, as an athlete, and thinking about the things you're doing, thinking about longer term goals, thinking how you can manage better your training and nutrition to transfer directly to your performance. And most importantly, have a long-term plan interspersed with these sort of short-term goals that will all come together to make you a better version of the player you are right now. If we all do that and head into the next tournament 10 times fitter, stronger, healthier, leaner than we are right now, we'll dominate some teams just on fitness alone. Never mind the fact we have a bunch of incredibly talented athletes already, but the situation could be that we can run harder for longer. We'll grind down teams who otherwise we would have just run out of gas against. And that's going to win us games that we never would have done if we didn't put that kind of effort in. So that's kind of it from me. I know it's a brief overlook of what this is, but I want to get specific with individuals. This hopefully gives you an outline to have a little think about and come to me with a plan of I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. And then I'll help you work on it and we'll set a plan out just for you pretty much. Get in touch with me. Don't be afraid to bug me. I am busy even though the gym is closed. It actually means I'm 10 times busier at home. But if I'm not getting back to you, don't be afraid to just hit me up and constantly bug me for a call, for a chat, whatever. Don't just message me once. Assume I've ignored you and then leave it at that. I am sorry to those of you that have done that. Well done to those of you that I have been chatting with and we have made progress on and who have got long-term plans. Keep smashing it. Hopefully have a look at this and see how that can adapt and change as well. But start thinking about what you're eating, what you're drinking, and how that's going to have an effect on you guys. And start thinking about what you're doing in lockdown, because coming out of lockdown fitter and stronger is going to be a huge step up against everyone else in the world who isn't going to be doing that quite as much. The performance program is out there. Please do the challenges. Please get involved with that. Well done to those of you that have done it. Well done to anyone that survived the Monmouth challenge, because that's insane. I might do it myself and do the video, because I did it once and then didn't video it, and if it isn't on video it didn't happen. So I might do that just out of sympathy for you guys that did finish it. But get involved. Get the Strava thing going again on the app, and let's get competitive with each other as a group so that when we come back to training, we've already got that mindset going forward. Okay? Cool, guys. Speak to you in a bit. Bye.